Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of Winners and Winers Radio Week 2 college football preview extravaganza big show. I don't know what we call it, Scott. It's just a thing.
We've never had a sequel before where we break up one episode into two.
That's right. That's right. We did it last week, but we didn't know we were doing it. We didn't know. At the time, I didn't know it was going to be too big of a file to download in one episode. So anyway, if you wonder why we do it, we're not trying to do it for any nefarious reasons. It's simply that where we host our podcast, that platform, it doesn't take like much over an hour, maybe an hour or 10 or whatever. So anywho, let's rock and roll, buddy. Let's take a look at one of the games between ranked teams on the board. This is the number 10 Iowa Hawkeyes traveling to Ames to take on the Iowa State Cyclones. Iowa State, home favorite here, 4.5, 46.5 is the total. Scott, we talked about this one briefly to kick off the last half. This is a series that's pretty well been dominated by Iowa lately. The Clones haven't won this game since 2014. I told you last week, weird things happen in the state of Iowa when you have the three teams involved. These are the other two teams in that equation besides Northern Iowa. We saw the Hawkeyes, we saw the Cyclones struggle with UNI last week. I've got Iowa here to continue their dominance. I'll take them. You're going to give me the team that hasn't lost since 2014 and points. I'm going to take it. Give me the Iowa Hawkeyes plus the 4.5.
My question for you, does it count as a rivalry if one team always wins?
It does because
it's based on the location. I get it. I'm kind of just, poking the bear a little.
Continues himself a football rival of K-State.
I'm poking the bear a little bit, but Iowa State never beats this team. I don't know what it is. It's just the fact that Iowa lives rent-free in the minds of Cyclones fans because a lot of weird things happen, muff punts, random fumbles, fourth down, failed conversion. A lot of crazy stuff's going to happen. Yep. So even if Iowa State wins this game, I think it's going to be by a field goal max. 4.5 seems like way too many points here.
Children of the Corn, week 2, buddy. That's exactly what this is.
I'm looking at Iowa money line of like plus 160 if you think that they continue the dominance, but I think that's a way to go. But if you want to play it relatively safe, 4.5 also covers the 4-point win for Iowa State. I don't think Iowa State's winning by 6 or 7. So I think you're looking at a very, very big sweat, maybe an overtime game. But I see Iowa State or Iowa winning by 3, arguably maximum here. I think it's a nail biter.
You know what? And I don't hate that as throwing it in as part of your teaser. You're getting Iowa plus 10.5.
Yeah.
That's a fine play right there.
Of course, teasing college football is dangerous, but Iowa, they're good enough to not only lose to this team, but to keep the game close so they don't get blown out in a loss. I think that doesn't happen.
Absolutely. I've got under 46.5 as well.
Yeah, I think this game has 23-20 written all over it, 2017, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's really close. Toledo Rockets heading to Touchdown Jesus Land to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. As the Irish are 17-point favorites, 55.5 is the total. Scott, I'm a Big Mac guy. That didn't come out right. I like Big Mac, Scott. Actually, I really do. But you guys, by the way, do you guys have Big Mac sacks up there in New York? If one of the guys on your team gets a sack, you get buy one, get one free Big Macs the next day?
No, I'm not aware of that because teams in my area constitute, I don't even know who the hell's in my area. I mean, Syracuse isn't really close. Rutgers isn't really close.
For NFL.
Oh, I thought you meant for LIU in FCS football. I'm joking. No. I don't have any local teams either. Both the New York teams play in Jersey.
So they don't have any, but they don't do any kind of like metro-wide tie-ins.
As far as I know, no.
It's a heartbreaker. Do you eat Big Macs? You a Big Mac fan?
I like the fries more.
Okay, fair enough. And I'll stay out of the Big Mac rabbit hole. Look, I like the Mac quite a bit. And this Rockets, very good offense, very good defense. They returned all 22 from last season. I think they jump up and surprise the Notre Dame Fighting Irish right here. I like Toledo plus 17.
So I'm rooting for Toledo, of course, because I have the team total that I gave out, or the win total, I should say, during the conference breakdowns. 17 does seem like a lot of points. I know Notre Dame ended up beating Florida State in overtime. I don't think Florida State's that good. And I know that Milton almost led the comeback, and it was an emotional game with Bout. I get all that. But Florida State isn't very good. Can we just admit that? I don't think they're a very good team.
I think at the end of the day, I think you're right.
I don't know if Florida State makes a bowl game.
That's the thing. I think they're going to be right in the borderline bowl game situation.
So I think Toledo's good enough to keep it close. Now, of course, athletically, Notre Dame should dominate up front, which we're expecting. And I know Kyle Hamilton's a damn lunatic at the linebacker position, but I do think the spread seems a bit high. I don't know if it's a look-at spot that Notre Dame has Purdue up next week. Probably not, because Purdue isn't really that, there's not really much cachet over there. But it's a Super Bowl for Toledo. I think Notre Dame will be cruising, and I do think down 21, 4 minutes to go, Toledo has the ball. Can they score a garbage time touchdown? I think it really comes down to that. I'll lean Toledo, but I do think that 17 does seem pretty good of a number.
I am disturbed by the fact this Notre Dame defense was unable to stop the run last week. That gives me pause and gives me hope for Toledo. I like Toledo in this spot, and you're right. It is going to be their Super Bowl, no question about that. The other great thing about it is, I'm guessing they're going to travel pretty well to this game, Scott, because it's close. It's not far away.
Of course, you're still going to have Notre Dame being the majority, but Toledo should get a decent crowd. That's
what I'm saying. It won't be an entirely hostile crowd. I like the Rockets. You want to take a spin of the week with some pizza money. Take Toledo to win this game on the money line.
I think that's a little bit optimistic.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
I hope you're wrong.
That's why you get big odds on it.
If Toledo wins, I can cash my win total right now. But I'm just saying, I think Notre Dame will win 14.
Okay. All right. I've got over 55.5 too.
Yeah. I think that's fair. If you think Toledo can actually score with this team, I think Notre Dame can. So I like the over as well.
Murray State heading to the Queen City to take on the Cincinnati Bearcats. Bearcats minus 35.5, 51.5 is the total. That is the number 7 ranked Cincinnati Bearcats, by the way. Scott, Murray State. Go Murray. Go Murray. The Racers played 4 Power 5 schools in the last 4 years. They've lost by an average of 49 points. Not sure any of them have been as good as this Cincinnati team. 35.5, Scott. It's a gift. Here it is. Just take that.
Cincinnati by pain and suffering. I don't see how Murray State's going to score a touchdown in this game unless it's garbage time. Cincinnati, we've talked about in the past how Cin's group of 5 teams get disrespected by the AP poll voters. You need to embarrass these teams, as heartless as it looks.
Yep.
Cincinnati should try to win this game by 50, and I think they will. I think this game might finish 55-7.
Let me tell you something. There's going to be no quarter asked and no quarter given for Cincinnati, Coastal Carolina, BYU. Who else am I missing? Louisiana, maybe?
Did I say Coastal or no?
Yeah, I say Coastal.
Okay.
They're going to be just beating the hell out of people every week.
And they should. If they want a potential outside shot at making the playoff, margin of victory apparently or allegedly doesn't matter. It matters for these teams.
It absolutely matters. Style matters. 35.5, one of my favorite numbers on the board. I'll take the over 51.5 too. Cincinnati may get there by themselves.
I said 55 for Cincy, so yeah, I think they get there.
All right, very good. That would also mean that you could certainly look into taking team total over 44 or something in that neighborhood, right? Yeah, somewhere in that.
And I don't think Murray State scores a touchdown. I think they might score one in garbage time, but you're looking at a potential spread here of arguably, it's like 43-7, 44-8. I just think that Murray State team total under also makes sense there because I just don't see them scoring.
No way they get to double digits. No way. South Carolina State at Clemson. Number 6, Clemson's where they dropped after their loss last week.
We both have fun stories about this game.
Yeah, 40. They are minus 49. 56.
Allegedly minus 49.
Right. So you do. I'll let you kind of kick it off because it kind of sets up where I was.
So I mentioned this will happen last week, which was kind of annoying because I found 2 games I liked last week and the line shifted on me because books have been late to upload.
A lot. Every line changes. Not you're talking about a seismic.
I had a Liberty last week on a book against an FCS team and against Campbell, and the spread jumped up from minus 18 to about minus 38 in about an hour. So
that's a substantial move.
20 points off. Clemson, I was looking at the same book, minus 34.5. And I thought to myself, they're going to win this game by 90. What kind of spread is this? So I prepared a whole note sheet, prepared it all, loved Clemson. Waited for this morning, though, because I figured that something was a little bit screwy. I bet the 34.5 personally. Checked FanDuel and DraftKings today. Minus 49. So another 15 points off. I bet it, though, so I'm happy about it. But I couldn't take this as one of my 3 plays if I was missing 15 points that I liked about half an hour ago.
No, and then my part of this story is I was preparing the sheet so we could just, run down in order, writing down all the spreads and totals. I go through to this game. I'm checking my Don Best grid. It says 34.5 everywhere. I've got 34.5 written down. You and I get together. We're doing a little pre-show, and you mentioned this play, and I said, well, dude, it's 34.5 everywhere. I go back to the grid. It's now 49. So it literally changed in 30 minutes from the time that I wrote it down. So,
my advice to you, if you have access to a book that gives you early FBS versus FCS team lines,
keep an eye on those lines.
Don't be afraid to hammer some that don't make sense, because I've seen multiple double-digit line moves. Some of them they just put up too early. They don't really understand the gravity of difference between these two teams that are playing.
It's not a trap. It's literally odds makers being stupid.
Correct.
Odds makers being drunk.
Basically.
I got Clemson minus 49. I don't care.
I still do. I had a bunch of notes where they've played FCS teams since like 2013. They've won every game by at least like 40, or they've won every game by at least 50. They played South Carolina twice over the last 5 years. They won each game by 50 plus points. Like they're going to kill this team. Plus Clemson's off a loss. I understand Clemson was going to kill this team anyway. An angry Clemson team against this team.
Yeah,
I feel bad for South Carolina State.
Dabo isn't in those kinds of spirits every day, and then coming off a loss, you're going to get grumpy Dabo. You're going to get vengeful Dabo, and that's
Clemson loses in the regular season once every like 3 years. I'm assuming that he raised hell in practice, and Clemson's going to try to bury this team by 60. If I'm South Carolina State's AD, I'm asking that they double the check.
You need hazard pay in that one.
You need hazard pay or something.
10%.
Health insurance for the players. You need something.
I've got over 56.5 too.
I think Clemson scores 60.
Yeah.
They scored 3 points last week. I think they're going to score 60 here.
All right, here we go. Texas A&M traveling on the road, going up to the Mile High, well, right outside the Mile High city there to Boulder, taking on the Colorado Buffaloes. Texas A&M minus 17, 50 is the total. Scott, fun fact, you know that thing that runs on the field is not a buffalo?
Is it a streaker?
You know what I'm talking about.
I thought I made a good joke there, and you just deflected it entirely.
It's Ralphie. Ralphie.
It's a bison, isn't it?
A bison. It's one of my all-time pet peeves. They call it. It's not a buffalo.
So does that mean that you're absolutely slamming Texas A&M because you have a gripe with the mascot?
No, I like Colorado here.
Okay.
I like Colorado put the point. This is to me, this is the toughest game on the board spread-wise. It's a Colorado team I think is much improved from last year. Of course, Texas A&M rolled last week. I don't really know what that means. I've got the over 50, and I'm going to take a small lean on Colorado.
I think that this spread's where it should be. The one issue that I have with Colorado is the fact that A&M only gave up 10 points to Kent. And I know that Kent State isn't a powerhouse by any means, but the offense last year was really, really good.
Yeah.
And they did nothing for this entire game. Now, of course, Kent State should have covered because they missed 2 field goals in the final 3 minutes. But A&M's defense looked fantastic. Colorado might only score like 10 points in this game, which is possible.
Sure.
I guess I'd hold my nose and lean Colorado, but damn, I agree with you. This line's where it should be.
Yeah, the odds makers are stone cold sober on this one.
Yeah.
You going to play under 50 then?
I'm leaning under if I had to pick any type of side with more than a, wow, I hate everything about this game. I'll look at the under because I think A&M can score 35. I think Colorado scoring more than 2 touchdowns might be a little bit dicey. Is Colorado any good? Nobody really knows.
Right. I don't know. They played Northern Colorado last week.
Correct. And they only scored 35 in that one.
Right. Yeah, this is my ugly kid Joe pick of the week. I hate everything about you.
I'm looking at the under because A&M scored 41. Kent State's defense last year was god-awful. So I think that against a mediocre defense, Texas A&M might score 30, 35. Okay. So I'm kind of looking at the under, but once again, it's a pretty sharp number all around.
Fair enough. How about those Sooners, buddy? Looking to recap here against Western Carolina.
After they demolished Tulane last week, right?
46.5 is the number. 65.5 is the total. I just realized who I picked here. I feel like Charlie Brown. I really do.
You picked Oklahoma again?
Yeah. I swear to God, she's going to hold the football this time. I don't know. I don't know what it is about me. I can't quit you. I don't know what it is about me laying big numbers with Oklahoma and just having my heart broken. You know what? I'm not doing it, Scott. I'm not doing it. I'm changing on the fly right now. I'm not doing it.
You're taking the Catamounts?
Yes, I'm taking the Catamounts. Yes, I am. The angry. I don't care. Oklahoma's going to be mad. They're going to be vengeful. They're going to be wanting to make. I don't care about any of that. Give me the Catamounts to lose by 44.
I mean, Oklahoma's got to be spending the whole week preparing for Nebraska next week, right?
It's the old rekindling of the rivalry there. When I was growing up in college football, that was the big game. They played.
I'm aware. They had some great rivalries back in the 70s and everything like that. But I was joking. That game means a lot more to Nebraska than it does to Oklahoma. But I'm looking at Oklahoma. At the end of the day, the defense was so bad against Tulane, but it's an FCS team. Oklahoma has the tendency to absolutely murder these FCS teams.
It's a bad FCS team, too.
It's not even close. I remember they played South Dakota. Of course, Jalen Hurts was there. What'd they win by, 70? It gets really ugly really quickly. Oklahoma, I think Rattler goes for 5 touchdowns. I think they'll run the ball. I think the defense should have gotten an earful because they were so awful against Tulane. I think they'll actually try against this Western Carolina team. I see pain and suffering, but I'm aware that you personally despise this Oklahoma team, and I commend you for sticking to your guns.
I had fallen for the old banana in the tailpipe.
But I'm going Oklahoma 55-3.
Okay, very good. And that's going to give you the under?
Yeah, but once again, if you're taking the under in this game, go to a meeting.
Hang on, kids. I've got the under too, buddy. Yeah. I do. So. In the other game involving ranked teams, this is going to be a good one, Scott, or could be a good one. It may be total crap on either side. I don't know. It's the number 12 Oregon Ducks heading to the shoe, baby, heading to the horseshoe to take on the number 3 Ohio State Buckeyes, the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Buckeyes, Scott, 14 and a hook is their number. 63.5 is the total.
Asking for a friend, by the way. I know they were on the road last week, but they didn't cover 14 against Minnesota, right?
They did not.
They pushed, right?
I vaguely remember that game.
So they're laying more points at home against the 12th team in the country.
Yes.
Than they were on the road against a Minnesota team that probably would have covered if Ibrahim didn't get injured in the midway through the third quarter.
Right.
So
very, very possible, yes.
Now, of course, Thibodeau's status is up in the air. Oregon made it sound like it's not a big deal, so I'm assuming he's going to play. I think people are just overreacting to Oregon struggling against Fresno when we both liked Fresno because, A, Fresno is not bad.
Right.
B, that was a look-ahead of all look-ahead spots if I've ever seen one. So I think it's too many points. You?
I've got to go with you. I
cannot lay 14.5 here against Oregon, who – I think is still undervalued. Pac-12, pretty good week 1. That conference might actually not be bad.
Yeah, we're gonna see. And I wanted to be impressed by this Ohio State. I had them to roll over Minnesota, and they did not. For me, it's all about that hook. I'm catching the 14 in the hook. I've got it. I'm taking it.
I might sound a little bit harsh because I know I was roasting Stroud for completing 13 passes in the first game. Is he better than Anthony Brown? I'm not even sure. He's played 1 game.
Well, I would think I'm going to say yes. I'm
going to say yes, but I think it's closer than people want to make it out. Oregon's quarterback situation is not bad, and I think you can make an argument that if Stroud's better, it's by a hair.
Fair enough.
And Ohio State's defense was awful against Minnesota.
Right. Well, so we'll learn a lot, I think, this week.
I think Ohio State wins 10 points.
Ooh, kind of threading the needle there, brother.
I mean, it's anything between 1 and 14, so sure.
All right, good enough.
I don't think Oregon's going to go in and win, but I think that they'll keep it close. You?
I agree. I've got Oregon here plus the 14.5. I think a 10 or 13 point victory is a very real possibility. I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon is down with a shot to take the lead and something screwy happens and Ohio State ends up winning by double digits but doesn't cover.
Could be. It's also one of these games which we've talked about where style points sometimes matter. It does not matter in this game. As long as Ohio State wins, this is pure survive and advance.
Survive and advance, baby, right there. Scott, do you like high-flying offenses with lots of points and teams just throwing the ball all around the field?
Oh, who's Texas Tech playing this week?
I was going to tell you to avert your eyes from this next game, Scott, because it's going to be the UAB Blazers heading down to Athens to take on the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs. Bulldogs 23.5-point favorites in this one.
What's the total? 14, 15.5?
44 is your NFL-like total. Your feelings on this one, sir?
I like UAB. A couple reasons why. Georgia, of course, won the Super Bowl against Clemson, where they actually won a big game for once. Proud of them. But I have concerns because the offense didn't look great. I'm expecting a huge letdown because they finally won their biggest game since the semifinal against Oklahoma, arguably. Right. Like, they really haven't won many big games. And on top of that, they had a little bit of a COVID spike over the last week. I know it's not many guys, but they're missing about 3 or 4. And Kirby Smart seemed a little bit concerned by it. Now, they didn't announce who the players were, so I don't know if they're backup starters or whatever. Do you think that impacts the practice scheduling at all? To try to prevent the full-on outbreak?
Yeah, I think it has to. And again, depending on who it is, it could really impact the practice schedule. If you've got one of those players that serves an integral role and they don't have them in there to practice, I think that makes a difference.
Now, of course, they can't disclose who's out as of right now for privacy purposes, which, you have to kind of guesstimate. But I just think there are a lot of distractions, and I think it's the ultimate college Super Bowl hangover after a week 1 win at night in prime time against Clemson. I think UAB keeps it close. I think UAB is going to lose. That defense is good, and I think you're going to see a lot of hideous offense. So I like the under, and I'm looking at UAB to lose by 17.
I'm right there with you. I think that's the same thing. One thing that didn't seem to be in question was the Georgia defense.
That defense is really, really good.
I think UAB is going to struggle to score, but I think Georgia is also going to struggle to score because this is a very good Blazers defense. This team is going to be sky high for this game. And like you said, that is the quintessential valley of letdown spots for the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm with you. I think 17 is right about the number. 44 is, I think, another gift. Give me the under.
I see 20-3. Like that's the score I'm looking at for this one.
That's very possible. And we're going to finish up with the number 1 team in the land, Scott, as that is the Alabama Crimson Tide, as they entertain the Mercer Bears.
Oh, God.
Alabama minus. Do you know this one?
Isn't it like 53?
Yeah, 53.5. Very good.
Oh, God.
And what's the total?
Was it like 58? I have no idea.
54. No, it's 60. 60 is the total. So that puts the Mercer team total at 6.5, Scott.
Sure. I don't even know what you want me to say, man. I mean, I love how the SEC constantly challenges themselves at a conference. It's really something else, man.
They really, really step it up, don't they?
It's really something to behold.
I've got Mercer here. I'm taking the 53.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. I thought you'd be on Bama.
It's a home game for Alabama. They love to put those 4th and 5th string guys in when they're at home. They dress out 125 guys or whatever.
You don't love it when they're chucking deep passes with the 5th string guy?
You get the guy that's the ball boy the rest of the season, but he actually gets to play tight end in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got Mercer here, and I've got over 60. I'm thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of 55-10. Something like that.
I don't know if I can find a line for it. Is there a first half line for Bama?
It's Alabama minus 53.5 full game, minus 49 first half.
So I'm really curious because I know that used to be an angle in the past when the spreads were too high. Take Bama first half and they'd be up 40 against these out-of-conference teams. For the sake of this, 35, 34.5, if I had to guess.
I think 35 is the number there.
Hold my nose, Bama first half.
Okay. Full game? I'm going to make you do it.
Do I think Mercer can score? That's the real question.
The Bears.
The Bears? I can't do it. I'm taking Bama. I can't take it. I can't. I don't have the strength. I can't do it.
Play under 60 then?
Yeah.
You have the balls to lay a 53.
You go for the ultimate middles of all middles, 55-0.
Okay. All right, buddy. That is calling your shot right there.
Really is. But first half,
Babe Ruth in it right there, buddy.
First half is a way to just look at the game and say, I want Bama, but I'm not sure how. So let me figure something out.
Instead of this stupid question that people always ask, do you think Alabama could beat an NFL team? How about this stupid question, Scott? Could Alabama hang 100 in this one if they wanted to?
If they wanted to, yeah.
Yeah. No, they won't. No. There's no way they will. But could
if they were actually using timeouts and going no huddle and everything, they could score 100. Yeah.
Okay. That's exactly what I'm thinking. All right. So that is it, guys. That is our picks 1 through 25. And are you making notes what you're picking?
Yeah.
Okay. How'd you do last week?
Wait, is that about for all the games?
Yeah, for all the games.
No, I thought you meant for the 3.
Okay.
I know last week we did pretty well. I know we agreed on a decent amount of it. I believe
I was up on sides. It was dreadful on totals.
I'm pretty sure we did okay last week.
You okay? All right.
Yeah, I think so.
Last time I checked, I think there was 2 games left, and I think I was 3 games over 500. So I'll take that.
We agreed on a decent amount, so we were probably close to the same page.
Yep. All right, my friend, and now it's that time where we lay out our picks of the week. Quick reminder: after 1 week, it's me 3 and zip.
Ooh.
You won 1-1 as you took it on the chin. You were lucky to get that tie.
I was lucky to get that tie. Yeah. Okay. It's one way to put it, man. One way to put it. It's fine.
All right.
Still early.
All right, buddy. So you know what they say: losers walk. What do you got for your first one?
So for this one, I'm taking a first half. I got a little bit of an assortment going on this week.
By the way, the comment section has spoken. Quarter bets are just fine.
Yeah, I'm not doing a quarter bet this week. So
yeah, you lost them both last week. So
I pushed one of them. Thank you. I should have split, but either way, it doesn't matter. The assortment's going to start off with Boston College first half, minus 22.5 at minus 110 on FanDuel against UMass. Now, do I really need to explain much? Because once you hear UMass, you should know exactly why I'm taking Boston College. But I'll give you some information anyway. Boston College beat Colgate last week, 51-0, led it 27-0 at the half, gave up less than 200 total yards of offense in that game. Meanwhile, UMass lost to Pitt last week by the score of 51-7. Pitt was awful in the first half, and yet UMass still trailed 23-0 at the break. Should have been 24 with the mixed extra point, but still, the point is UMass not going to score in the first 30 minutes. Boston College should generate a lot of big passing plays because they have a pretty good quarterback for once. And I do think that it's a close proximity to each other. I think Boston College is going to bury this team. The last time they played was in 2018. Boston College led 48-7 at the half. I think Boston College buries this team. They're probably going to be up 28-0 at the half. So that's my first play.
I think that's a solid play. Scott, we're going to go back to the first game we talked about, and I couldn't help but chuckle as we were talking about this game. I'm going to take Alabama State, team total over 6.
Okay.
That's right, as they go up against number 25 Auburn. Now, this is a team, Scott, the last times they played FBS schools, 2019, they lost by 5 to UAB. They lost by 37 to Florida State. Excuse me. Thought I was sneezing there. And then in 2018, they played the same Auburn Tiger team. They lost by 54. They lost 63-9.
They scored 9. They scored twice.
They score points in these games. They're not going to score a ton. I do think they beat the number, as we talked about on the last video, but I do like the team total over 6 in this one.
Do you think you're sweating that out in the third quarter or the fourth quarter?
I don't think I'm sweating that out at all, buddy.
Really? You didn't think they scored in the first half?
I think it's just like my team total, Northern Iowa, over 9 last week. They come out and they do it in the first half. I don't even have to worry about it. It's a rocking chair.
Okay, fair enough.
Opening drive. They just drive right down the field on Auburn.
No, you're rooting for a Bo Nix pick 6. But
that's always a good possibility.
In your defense, Auburn did give up 10 to Akron. So, that's not that bad. But anyway, looking at my second play, I mentioned the first half. Now I'm going to be looking at a team total. I'm going back to the Eastern Michigan-Wisconsin game. Okay. I like Eastern Michigan team total under 13.5 at minus 110 on FanDuel. Minus 110 on Fox Bet at Wisconsin. Wisconsin lost last week to Penn State. It's going to be fired up for this home game. They played really well defensively. Offensively, they were awful. But that's why I'm taking the team total here. Despite losing, Wisconsin only allowed 16 points to Penn State. I think we'd agree Penn State's offense significantly better than Eastern Michigan's. Plus, the time of possession was disgusting. Wisconsin had the ball for about 42 minutes. If we think that they're going to run the ball the entire game, which is what they should do because Mertz is their quarterback, they're going to be draining clock like crazy in this game. And Eastern Michigan didn't really look that sharp against St. Francis. I think that this team's outmatched. Now, fun fact, Wisconsin has played against 3 MAC teams since 2016. Wisconsin won those 3 games by a combined score of 163-10. Eastern Michigan 13.5. Field goals don't even hurt you because you need 3 field goals and a touchdown to beat you. You're thankful if they kick. The question is, do I think Eastern Michigan is going to score roughly the same amount of points as Penn State by scoring 2 touchdowns? I think the answer is no. Wisconsin's defense gave up 1 first down in the entire first half to Penn State. That's a really good unit at home. Night game as well. I think Eastern Michigan loses 38-0. I don't think they're going to score.
Emu, and under.
What do you think? I think 13.5 is too high for a team total.
We've already talked about this. I like Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, you like the game because you think Wisconsin's not going to score.
I hate the Wisconsin offense, yeah.
Yeah, just don't turn it over in your own territory, and Eastern Michigan's not going 70 yards.
Here's a game we talked about earlier, Scott. I'm going back there. Is Austin Peay, Ole Miss. I'm going to play over 60.5. This ball isn't going to touch the ground much. There's going to be a lot of winging it. A lot of winging it out there, buddy. We talked about this a lot. I don't really have much else to say. It's going to be a pass fest and 60.5. My prediction is we get to 60.5 before the fourth quarter starts.
Yeah. And my last one's going to be a full game spread.
Woo! Wow.
Which is rare for me because I'm taking an underdog, which is something I don't do that often. I'm looking at Buffalo plus 14 at minus 110 on BetMGM at Nebraska. Now, a couple reasons why I like Buffalo in this spot. First of all, Buffalo won its only game against Wagner 69-7, which doesn't really mean anything because Wagner's terrible, but it was a midweek game, which means that Buffalo does have added prep time for this matchup. Now, one of the perks of betting on Nebraska over last week was that I got to watch Nebraska against Fordham, and Nebraska won that game 52-7. Did I think they were 45 points better than Fordham? No, I didn't think they looked very good. They got pretty fortunate that Fordham turned the ball over a couple of times in field goal range, missed a couple kicks. It was pretty hideous. But Nebraska also has a huge look-ahead spot because they travel to Norman next week and take on Oklahoma. So do I think that Nebraska is going to care much about this Buffalo game? I do not. They won a game against Fordham. They still lost to Illinois, who lost to UTSA, by the way, so Illinois is not very good. Buffalo, we know, has been to bowl games. They've been to conference title games. This team has experience, a great ground game, and I do think that Nebraska is going to be in a bit of a war throughout this game. I think if you want to sprinkle on Buffalo money line and you think Nebraska has a complete no-show with Oklahoma on deck, I don't hate that. But 14 seems way too many points here.
I'm with you. I like two of your 3 plays quite a bit. I like your first and your third pick.
Okay.
Your second pick certainly could win. I just don't think I got enough information to make that play. My third pick is going to be another one that we already talked about. This is going to be the UAB UGA. We're going to play under 44. It's a low total. It should be scary for college football. It's not. I just don't see where the offense is going to come from. UAB can put some points on the board against normal teams. This UGA defense, not a normal team.
Is Jacksonville State a normal team? Because they barely scored in the first half against them either.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I've again, my synopsis are going to be a lot quicker. These are games that we pretty much already all talked about.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the Buffalo Nebraska games. That's
no. That's and I'll take the UAB University of Georgia under 44 in that one.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, there you go. Good luck, my friend.
You too. Do you want to just do one quick recap one more time?
Yep, we'll go through. My 3 picks are Alabama State, team total over 6, Austin Peay, Ole Miss over 60.5, and UAB University of Georgia under 44.
And my 3 picks are Boston College first half minus 22.5, Eastern Michigan team total under 13.5, and Buffalo plus 14 against Nebraska.
Very good. That is going to do it for the second half of our college football show. Week number 2 is in the books. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks for checking us out on the podcast format. We do our little strip down show here. We have a lot of fun on the weekends. Make sure you tune in later tonight or tomorrow when we have our NFL show posted. We're going to be doing the same type of format, doing it all on one video, most likely there. So you guys take care. Good luck on all your college plays this weekend. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money when you head back to the window. You guys have a great day. Thanks for being part of the show. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.